Hi, I'm Mariusz Bargielski,
And I'm Tamara Jones.
and today we have very special guest from LA, straight from LA, Darren Darnborough, and he's founder and president of We Audition. Let's introduce yourself and tell us how did you start it, when?
Thank you. Thank you for having me on here, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, I am an actor and also the president of We Audition, or the co-founder, as we call it. I've been acting for many years, started out in London, England, and then moved to Los Angeles in 2006. And, I've done a variety of TV, film, theater work over my career. And then about 8 years ago, I started this company called We Audition, which is a platform that helps actors connect with other actors around the world to read lines with each other and be readers for their self-tape auditions. So we have this incredible worldwide community now, thousands and thousands of actors available any time of day or night for readers and talent to get together to really just elevate their careers, build community, and ultimately help each other on audition tapes or for learning your lines when you've actually booked the job and going on to set. So it's just a nice tool for people to use. I'm really proud of it.
It is, and it's such a fast growing company too. I remember when you started actually. So you were going to Europe to meet the actors in the different countries.
Yeah, I did a bit of a world tour because one of the things that's important about this company is that it's an on-demand reader service. So when you need a reader, you go onto the website or the app, and there's one available. There's many available right when you need it. That was always our concept: is that we wanted, if you're a busy actor, then you need to work on your schedule. And most people, if they're auditioning with a roommate or their girlfriend or a parent or something, they have to wait till that person's available, or sometimes they have to wait for them to come over and help out. And from our point of view, if you're working a lot as an actor, or even if you're just auditioning a lot as an actor, you need things around your schedule sometimes. You might be on set on another job and then you have an audition late at night. Or you might have a bar job and you get home at 3 a.m. and that's the only time you have to learn your lines before the audition the next day. And so our concept was to have somebody on demand available any time of day or night. And to do that, I really thought, well, we needed to build international time zones into that. So I went around the world and I met with actors in every actor-centric city, from Sydney to Toronto to Vancouver to Atlanta to Shanghai. And I met with agents and I met with cast and directors, found out what people wanted, what people needed. And, we escalated the platform from there. So it's a really unique system.
Yeah, it is. And it's amazing. And especially in this time when most auditions have via eco, right? And the self-taping, not in person.
Yeah, we started it about 8 or 9 years ago when self-tapes existed, but they were really only afforded to those actors that were already busy on another job, So usually, for anyone that hasn't been acting that long, back in the day, you'd get an in-person audition, and only really if you were busy on another job. Sometimes even vacations weren't acceptable, right?
Yeah.
But if you're busy on another job, your agent could say, well, they'll send you a tape, and the casting would see that. And obviously the pandemic changed all that into almost exclusively self-taping. So it wasn't that the pandemic made it a thing. It was already a thing, but it's now almost the only thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and you had a great vision then. It came 4 years before pandemic, 3, 4.
5 years actually. And yeah, I would just say that it wasn't like we predicted that this would necessarily be going this way either. What we built at the time was a tool that me and my other co-founders needed ourselves. That was really what it was. We're like, well, we're at a place in our career where we would need this, and we know other actors that would also need that. But it was quite niche, So I would say at the start, it was really the more established, successful actors that were using it. Until a point where both self-tapes became more prominent, and also actors started to realize that they could earn money on We Audition as a reader instead of working in a bar, instead of working in a supermarket. They could actually earn a side income by being a reader doing what they love and working with other actors that are at a level which they are benefiting from them as well, because they're working with established actors doing work. And you can get so much from just running lines with somebody that's good at what they do.
So how many members do you have? Because your company runs right in the form of the membership, right? Or
yeah, I mean,
right?
we fluctuate over time, but we have upwards of 60,000 members around the world.
Wow, that's the huge number of the actors.
There's many more actors out there, though. Trust me, there's a lot of actors out there. Yeah. But it's a good amount that we've always got people coming and going because it depends on their careers. But it means that at any given time on the platform, there's probably 50 to 100 actors that are available. So not only can you get a reader, you can cast your reader to be the right person. If you're doing a buddy road trip movie, you can pick a reader that might be your buddy. If you're doing a scene with your elderly grandmother, you can pick somebody that fits that. And so you're really getting into the scenes more as an actor.
I'm pretty sure you checked, but how many countries you have the actors from?
Oh, I haven't checked, but I think just from like, because we don't ask people personal data like that. We don't ask them where they're from, but they get to, when you're a member of We Audition, you get to tag your profile how you feel fit. So you get to tag it with the accents that you have. You have to get to tag it with your choice of ethnicity or gender identity, things like that. We don't tell you what to put. You get to choose all of those variables. But I would say looking at, we probably have 40 or 50 countries.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
What an expansive business that you've dealt here. And so like, we usually get into like, what got you, how did you start? Like, this is a huge task that you had taken on. You said it's been 9 years, so you've seen a lot. And so walk us through it. What was the process?
I mean, the genesis of the idea, as I said, was really a friend of mine who was an actress, and also she's one of the first ever YouTube stars. She was the first person to get 1 million views on YouTube, I think.
Oh, whoa.
And for a fictionalized piece. So she had a drama series on YouTube that was like a video blog, but everyone thought it was real. And so she had a level of success in that. And she was getting great jobs on TV as well. She's in the show Monk, I think, and some other stuff. But she was still supporting herself with a job in the evening. Okay, so there's that paradox that you can be somewhat famous and also not rich, right? And so having a side job meant that she was that person that also would come home at night and have to learn, because as a successful actor, she always had an audition the next day, but she had a job in the evening. And she would often call me or other friends on FaceTime or Skype because that was the only way she could do it in time, And there's one time when she called me and I was actually on set of a show called Two Broke Girls. And that's a sitcom. That's a sitcom. And she said, "Can you help me with my lines?" I said, "No, I'm on set right now." She said, "Can you just video chat with me then?" And I said, "I really can't because they've just given me a new script to learn. If you know about sitcoms, sometimes they change your lines on you at the last minute." And I was trying to learn my lines. She was trying to learn hers. She ended up doing it with her mum in New Zealand. And I thought, this is like, where we're at. And then she spoke to me about this afterwards, and we're floating the idea of having a group of people that you can call in a heartbeat to help you out. And when we sat down and sort of really spoke about it, we realized it was a worldwide community. It shouldn't be a group of our friends. It should be somebody somewhere. And we could build this into a scalable business. And I had another website before this, which was a promotional recruiting website. So brand ambassador work, which a lot of actors and models do on their time off. And I'd built that company in England, and we'd scaled it to hundreds, thousands of users as well. And I just thought, well, this is a sort of similar marketplace idea. And I have experience building a business like that. And talking about the process, I mean, it sounds trivial, but it's literally as simple as starting. I had experience of building a business in the UK before, not really the US. But you put your building blocks together, you find the idea. We really spent some time sketching out the idea to make sure that the interface that we were going to use was going to work and the idea was going to work. There's a few different ways that you could have done this. So we had to drill down on, like, do we want it to be on demand, or do we want people to book people in advance? Do we want it to be in person or on video chat? All these different things. But once you get a really clear, solid idea, we got to wireframing it. With, if anyone doesn't know, it's literally you sketch it out how you want each page of the website to look and where each button's going to go. That's wireframing. And then we found my co-founder, which is my current co-founder now, Richard. He's our developer, and he's a very talented actor and also a very talented web coder, which is a perfect match for We Audition because he understands the business, but also can build the software. And we just got to doing it, really. It's one foot in front of the other. You start designing, and then you register the business, and you get a lawyer to trademark and do all your copyrights and things like that. Start the business. Then we raised a little seed money for it from a company that was interested in buying my last company but didn't. And they also operated in the performance space as well. And I showed them a really early prototype of this idea, and they agreed to invest in it. And then we just built it until we were ready to launch. We launched with a rather large but fairly affordable launch party in Hollywood. So, we used our connections and skills to get a venue and launch it. And that was it, really. We got our first few hundred members from that event, and off we went. Yeah. But I'll tell you something, the level of hustle that you need, we're still hustling 8 years later. I see people say, oh, does this thing run itself? It's like, no, you still see me out at the film festivals. You still see me doing podcasts, right? Because a business or acting career takes that. It's like you have to keep on doing it.
Yeah, and all the time, not just like one time you put some work and it will just work for you.
It's the same as acting, Marius, isn't it? I mean, you can't do one acting job and expect the rest to be offer only.
I know, and I didn't want to interrupt you, but that must be, it's very exciting, fun, right? Because you're doing the business, but also you're working with your peers, actors. So that's something you're doing for them, but also with them. So
absolutely, it is, and it also means that I think me and Richard have a unique perspective on the business and the industry that somebody from outside of the industry wouldn't have. Someone that was just a software developer wouldn't have that, because this industry is nuanced and it moves and it meanders through different trends, and that's important to keep up with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, speaking of that probably leading to what Marius was about to ask is, like, since it's been so long, you guys went through the pandemic, and you had said before, like, the pandemic did have an effect because it really did give this entire software a place of usefulness for a lot more people. So was there anything during the pandemic, as an actor, you were mentioning earlier that you think that things are getting a little bit back to normal, but there was that sort of drop off in productions. So how did this affect you as both an actor and the owner of We Audition?
Interested. Well, I went through a few different stages during that time, actually, because as an actor, of course, my work stopped immediately. And I mean, I wasn't on a show, but my auditions did, as everyone's did, you know? But I didn't really notice to that degree because We Audition picked up so quickly in the pandemic, partly in thanks to a casting director called Sophie Holland. If any of you know her, she cast the new Beetlejuice movie. She cast Wednesday. She cast The Witcher. And at the time, she was working on The Witcher, and she's a friend of mine for many years. And she reached out to me and said, I've been put on hiatus for my show. And so we're not working, and I would just love to do something with actors to help them during this time. That's the kind of person she is. She's a former actor. And she could have just taken that time off or whatever, but she's like, I really want to do something. Can we do something together to help back, to just give actors some hope or some education or something? And so we came up with this idea that she called Casting Crushes Kuroda. And it was a series of meetings through video chat every day on We Audition with her and her partner. And she met hundreds and hundreds of actors for general meetings. Now, most actors at that point, unless they're of a certain level, they'd never had a general meeting.
Right. Especially now.
Especially now, right? You know, it's pretty rare for most actors. And we were able to utilize that technology that we had, and we were tweaking it to fit the purpose. But we had these sessions where every single day we hosted sessions all day long on We Audition with Sophie and her business partner, her assistant Faye Timby, and hundreds of actors were getting to meet the casting director of The Witcher, which was lovely. And actually, a couple of those actors got cast in that when production came back. So it really proved a purpose.
Yeah.
But what was exciting about that is once Sophie started doing that and the interest really came to We Audition, we were able to use that to then convince other casting directors and other managers to do the same. So almost as soon as my acting work dried up, I was able to utilize my connections and my contacts to bring opportunities to everyone that was out there struggling with having their work dry up, and also being isolated. You know, it's a thing that I think people in certain cities felt it more, because a city like New York or like London, you know, you generally live in smaller places. There were restrictions isolating you to, I know, for instance, in London, you couldn't leave more than a mile from your home and not more than an hour a day. So you could go on a 1 hour walk and that was it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And where I was living in Vancouver, obviously restaurants and shops were shut like everywhere else, but we were allowed to go out of the house and walk around the beach. So I felt blessed that I was spending it in a place like that. But what really drove me during that time was I read about a lot of people like getting bored or like taking time out or like watching too much TV. I don't remember watching hardly any TV because I saw this opportunity and I was like, there's so much I can be doing to help people get through this. And I also felt guilty as well. I had this guilt that my business was picking up when other people were losing theirs. But that sort of transition, when I saw how many people were feeling valued, feeling connection, feeling hope, because of these opportunities we were bringing them, that really hit home. And I'm like, right, I need to go full steam on this because we have a platform here and access to people that I can use purely for good at this time. And that's what we did. And by the way, during that time, all of those meetings were completely free. No one was paying for them. The casting people were doing them for free. The actors were getting them for free. It was just a beautiful moment of let's come together as a community and get through this.
Yeah, that's what I want to say. It's not just a business, and obviously you operate from LA, but you come a few times a year, right, to New York, and I was lucky to actually be in on one of those parties, and everybody looks like a family, actually, not just your clients, but the family, which is great.
Yeah, I think that's something we've always had as one of our core values is community. It's, when you write your company mission statement, we wanted it to be about connection and community, right? That's always been at the forefront. And one of the reasons we do the parties, if you've seen the We Audition parties around the world, we do them at film festivals, we do them in cities, we do stuff before the Emmys or before the, Cannes Film Festival. The whole idea is that people are meeting online, but real connections are also made in person. And again, getting back to the access that we have as actors ourselves, both Richard and I have been in the business many years. We want to share our access. Right? If we know good people, we want to connect them. And one of the unique things about our events, because of the high level of actors we bring, casting directors and agents like yourself will also come because it's our business, and agents and managers and casting do want to meet actors. They do.
I agree, of course.
They don't want to be shaken down. They don't want to be hassled. They don't want desperate actors to be, chasing them around. But when you operate at a level of professionalism, we all need to know each other. And that's what we try and achieve with those parties is bring the community together, like you say, like a family. And then the reason it has that effect is because a lot of those people have never met, but they've worked together on We Audition for years. And so seeing them meet for the first time in person is lovely, And I'm also grateful to you, Marius, for coming and bringing your clients as well, because that's what helps us out as well, is expanding that network by people like yourself, bringing good people to it as well.
No, listen, we always appreciate good people, right, in this industry, so we can help each other.
It's a team job, isn't it?
It is.
We have to work as a team. You're correct about that, but also I think going back to the idea that people are really nice at our events, I see in my career as well, the most successful people I know are always the nicest.
Well, it should be that way.
It should be, right?
We talk so many times, especially with Tamara, right, on our podcast, that we should be nice for everybody, despite is this industry or not, but especially in this industry,
It's small, right? It's tiny.
It is small, and you never know who you talk to, or who you meet, or who you'll be the next casting director, or who producer or director of the movie or project.
And honestly, with the industry, it's been expanding. Like we talk about it so often. It's becoming, it's mutating into its next phase. And so I think in this next phase, community entertainment is probably going to be its own section, because we just saw with 28 years later release, like all being shot on an iPhone. It's like a lot of different creators with their ideas are coming to the scene, and it's really expanding. So like community is really important, and I love hearing that your entire this whole idea has been the foundation being community being thought of first.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for seeing that. And also, it's interesting because if you think about it, us being a video chat platform, a software platform first and foremost, as the industry has gone more into software because of self-tapes and things like that, it's also become more isolated, not just during COVID, which was an obvious isolation, but now this industry is isolated. People aren't going to audition rooms so much. They're not meeting other actors in the audition room. They're not meeting casting directors in the audition room. I personally prefer that. Not that I don't like meeting with casting directors, but I think for our own sanity and time and everything, in-person auditions aren't as exciting for me anymore, because I'd rather do self-tapes. I value my time. I like to get a lot done in my time. And I like to do good work, and I can do good work in my space better than if I've spent half an hour driving across town, stressing out about parking. But on the flip side of that, the need for community is more, because you are leading a more isolated life as an actor, for sure. And so one of the reasons why, if ever we think about, do we really need to do these events and these parties, I always come back to the fact of, yeah, we do, just because forget our business, the industry needs it. The industry needs reasons to connect. And most actors aren't on set every day.
So do you have any amazing story of the actor who actually can say, listen, thank you so much, Darren, because if not you, I wouldn't get this or that role, or I wouldn't have this reader who helped me actually book nice project?
Yeah, any success stories?
We have so many.
I know.
We get told them every day. Actually, we get DMs on our Instagram. Somebody, I just put one up the other day. Somebody said they booked a 2-week job in Miami, thanks to a reader on We Audition. Now, look, let's be clear. Our platform didn't get them the job. They got the job.
Right.
Yeah.
But the access to a good reader helped them do a better audition, is what they're saying. And maybe I do have a couple of people that I know their careers just changed once they started using We Audition readers, because quite simply they didn't know any other good actors, so they were using like their roommate or their friend, and it was affecting their tapes. And once they started using We Audition, they started to get an agent, they started to do better auditions, they started learning, because you can learn in class, and I think you should learn in class. But learning from a working actor is currently working actor is a different level. But in terms of one of my favorite stories about a success story for We Audition is it's actually when we decided to call it We Audition as well, because before that, the company was called We Rehearse.
That's right. I remember this one.
Yeah.
You sent the first information about the company.
Right, because it was about rehearsing. Yeah. And then we built an auditioning platform where casting directors could audition talent through the system. And we did that because a friend of mine ran a monologue competition in the UK. And he brought it to LA, and I helped him run the competition at the Chinese Theatre. And it was, he's always been a champion of diversity. The guy I'm talking about he now plays Jeffrey on Bel Air, on the new Bel Air. Yeah. And he's always been a champion of diversity and bringing people up. He's a wonderful guy. And he's doing this event in the Chinese Theatre in Hollywood. And I said to him, look, if this is a truly diverse competition, you should be allowed to enter it from anywhere in the world. So why don't we give one spot away to somebody on We Audition? which was called We Rehearse at that time. And so we sat there for a day and we auditioned monologues. People could just dial in and they'd do a monologue and he and I would watch it. And the girl that we picked to go through to the final, who was amazing, she was an actress called Camille Hollett-French from Toronto. She was amazing, blew us away. We put her through to the final. She flew to Hollywood. And then this competition at this point is out of our hands. It's judged by agents from CAA, from Don Buchwald, from, it's judged by the Claudia Lyons, who was, I think, at ABC Diversity Showcase, things like that. And they had to agree as a jury on the winner. So it wasn't one person's idea. It wasn't nothing to do with us. But guess who won the whole show, right? It was Camille that came in from the video chat. And not only did I think that was amazing that if she hadn't jumped on that video chat that day and hadn't flown to Hollywood, when she ended up getting an agent from that and getting her visa and all these things, it just made me realize that the best talent doesn't always live in the big cities or in, obviously Toronto's a big city, but doesn't always live in the obvious places. And so that was when we just got this new kind of emphasis of We Audition of actually, this is going to help people that have a dream and are good, but just don't have access. This is going to create access. And so when you talk about diversity and inclusivity in casting, when you talk about representation on screen, it has to start with giving access to people regardless of their social economic background, regardless of their geography, right? It has to start by really looking at talent. And talent might live on a small island in Indonesia. It might live on an east coast of Africa, right? It might live anywhere. And a platform like ours allows them to get the training and the access. Well, this story gets better. The year later, we did it again. And the guy we picked, a guy called Shahbaz Sawa, he was from Denmark. And he lived in a small town in Denmark. And again, he did an amazing audition. And the day we got to tell him that he was coming to Hollywood, it was such a beautiful moment because we called him up and we said, you've got through to the final, you're coming to Hollywood. And he said, let me just check my work schedule because he had a regular job. He worked on the trains in Denmark. And he said, let me check how much the flights cost. And we said, well, don't worry about the cost of the flight because last year's winner said it changed her life so much that she wants to pay for it for you.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible?
It is.
Yeah.
Because she had said to us that was the best thing she'd ever done. And so she said, the next year's winner, I'm going to buy their flight. Because she said that was the only barrier to entry is the cost of the flight.
Yeah, and that's in that kind of cases, you see how united our industry could be, right? And
could be, yeah.
It would just be a better place.
Yeah.
You know the punchline to that schedule, right? So that's that story is he flew over and he won.
Oh, we love to hear
Again,
that.
independently judged, he was the best.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing story. So what do you think in the next few years? I know it's very, very difficult to predict anything in this industry, but is it anything that could improve even your company and go even to the places you never really think about that, or which way you go then?
Well, there's two things happening. Is that where's the industry going and where's our company going? For my company, we can continue expanding, right? We have a lot of actors, but we don't have all the actors. And I think the more, because it's a community-based platform, the more actors that use it, the better it becomes. It literally is as good as the people on it. It's a marketplace. We're always tweaking the software and coming up with new ideas to put in features that we feel like are useful to actors, right? But really it's core thing. It's about getting the job, right? We're helping actors to get better at their craft, to get the job. All the talk of AI, do we want to do AI readers? Perhaps there's going to come a time when that's necessary, right? Because that's just the way the world is going. Someone else will do it. At the same time, I think as technology moves into that space where everything's AI, the need for human connection is going to be greater. And so I think in the same way that we still look at fine art, we still go and marvel at Picasso. Even though we have digital art, even though we have NFTs, we still like to go to a gallery. And that becomes the rare commodity. So I actually think we can go forward with technology and actually still be bringing that human connection. If you study anything about a psychology of loneliness and connection, we're in a loneliness epidemic in general in life, the amount of time we spend on our screens and our cell phones. So I think the more ways we can connect, whether it's through video chat or in person, is actually going to become a more rare commodity. So I think we can actually double down on that as well. I want to continue, bringing people together through the platform, but also in person at the film festivals and other things like that. Where the industry is going, I'm not an AI skeptic. I think if we use AI correctly, if we use technology correctly, it will improve a lot of things. It will improve production processes for sure. Will it replace actors? I think it will replace actors in the same way that animation replaced actors. Yes, it uses our voices, but the first time somebody drew Mickey Mouse, was somebody angry that wasn't a real person in a Mickey Mouse suit? I don't know. I wasn't around for that, but you can think, and then the anime can sometimes be hyper realistic, right? But there's still a market for that, and I think AI films will have their own market. And like I said, the indie filmmaking, traditional filmmaking might become a rare commodity that is seen as a more artistic endeavor. But I do think that one of the most interesting theories I've read about if AI will replace humans, I think the entertainment industry gets a little too scared, because this theory said, AI is going to replace all of the admin work. It's going to replace the grunt work, which will leave most human beings more time to be entertained.
I agree.
And so the entertainers are going to be the winners in that scenario.
And I also agree that in some cases that definitely AI could help, the cutting some costs.
Yeah.
Nothing will replace humans. I don't really believe, not in the nearest future. There always creativity, experience, that's in the feelings. I don't think it could be replaced. I mean, the machine could definitely learn some right from the humans, but can they really think for us?
I mean, there's an argument that it will be able to in the future, and actually beyond what we can do. But even, I think as an actor, like I use AI now as an actor. When I get a script with a 2-day turnaround, I will work on my character as much as I can, but I don't mind putting that description into ChatGPT and saying, hey, what time period do you think this is? What can you tell me anything about this character? And they might pick up on a nuance that I've missed, or that I just, I could find out by Googling that word. There was a word in a script I had to say the other day, and it was like a colloquial word. And within 10 seconds, or 1 second, AI had told me the time period that it probably was based upon the word I was saying, where I probably was based upon the word I was saying. Now, the script didn't tell me that because I didn't have the full script. I had this 1 page of side with the blacked out stuff and the blacked out stuff because it's NDA. And yet just from the phrasing, I was able to go, okay, I'm pretty confident it's this time period and it's this type of thing.
See, that definitely could help, right? And if you know how to do the research, that's definite. But I don't know to help, in case of the lazy people that, that they think that somebody give them on a golden trace, right? All the answers to the...
Well, I mean, you still got to do the work as the actor. But I don't think it's bad to use tools like that, because if you think about it, back in the day, we would get the full script. Now we're not. So you just have to use what you have.
Yeah.
And in a competitive industry, if I can do my research a little quicker, because that's all it is, it's just doing the research quicker. I was going to research that anyway.
Yeah, but you mentioned very, very good thing actually, that if you're going for the pilot, right, they give you, most of the time they give you the script. If you're going for the feature, especially big feature film, they give you the script. But if you're going for the episodics, especially when there's like third, fourth, fifth season, right, they don't give you the script, so you have to figure it out very quickly what it's all about, the scene.
Well, even you said there, you're going for the pilot, but I went for a Netflix pilot the other day. It was untitled. It was a non-disclosed director, a non-disclosed producer, I mean, they literally told me nothing. It was for a recurring guest star, and it was 2 paragraphs. I had nothing but 2 paragraphs.
It's just a shoot and miss. That's what it is.
Right. So whatever you can give yourself to bring color to that. And that was the one where I said it was a certain word in there that it gave me so much by doing some research on what that word was that I can, and it might be completely different to the real script. No one's going to know, but at least it gave me the context as an actor. And because it was a quick turnaround, that just accelerated my work, because instead of sitting there poring over Google or writing things down, I could just get straight into character building.
Yeah, tell us more about your career, though, acting career, because we talked about the business, right? Let's
yeah. I mean,
you just had a film you said earlier.
Yeah, well, I just came from my premiere last night. We released a film called Abruptio, which is right out in time for Halloween. It's a horror movie.
Oh, nice.
I'm in this alongside Jordan Peele and Hannah May Lee.
Nice.
Christopher McDonald and James Masters. It's a great cast. There's a lot of horror names in there as well, like Robert Englund, who played Freddy Krueger, and the late Sid Haig. It's a really interesting, strange horror movie. It's filmed entirely with puppets. And they are life-sized puppets. So they look like people, they act like people, but they're not people. It's very, very
scary.
weird.
Oh, that sounds nice.
But that's out in theaters next week, September 27th. I've also got a film that's doing the festival circuit right now called River of Grass, where I play a South Florida drug dealer from the 70s.
Okay.
So that's pretty fun. I've just been busy on a bunch of different things, auditioning a bunch, and got a few things in the pipeline that I can't talk about yet. But it's been an exciting couple of years, yeah.
Yeah, it is. And how you can manage, actually, because
I was literally about to say.
Yeah, right. It's every week you're somewhere else. We see the pictures from Toronto, from Cannes, from LA, from New York. You mentioned Australia, right?
How are you balancing these 2 hats?
What, the company and the acting?
Yeah.
I mean, as we've discussed, like a lot of the time they coexist because the worlds are a part of the same thing, right? But the truth is, as an actor, so I just prioritize my auditions and I prioritize the job. And then in between, I work on the company. And that's quite a nice thing about it being an internet company. Of course, I work on it and I work on it a lot, but there's very little times when something is urgent that I personally have to do. We have people, that do different tasks for us. And there's a software that runs even in the background when we're not working on it, right? So I'm able to prioritize my acting work, but then when there is no acting work and when there is no audition, then I put my focus back on the company. And then in terms of going to film festivals, I mean, that scratches both itches. I can get to do something amazing for We Audition, but personally, I'm making my own connections and, promoting my own work at these things as well. We did a big event at Sundance last year, and I also had a film at Sundance. So I was there, whichever way you look at it, I would be there.
Yeah.
So it works hand in hand. Yeah.
Do you still have time and a chance to go to your home? You're coming from the London, right? Or
because I'm in my home right now, but yeah, I live from London. I live in London, but I go there, a couple of times a year. Yeah. Yeah, I get around it. I mean, I don't mind traveling. I think travel is quite exciting. So.
It is cool, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This has been very fun. I mean, just you going over this whole process has been a lot to think of. You've given everybody a lot of nuggets to go off of for, I think a lot of people are venturing out into making sure that they are doing multiple things and multitasking their careers because, we've got all these extra things that we realize could come out of nowhere and completely disrupt. So thank you for giving those advice and talking points to kind of describe what you've been doing and how you've done your transition between the two back and forth.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And definitely we advise all of the actors at least check, right? And when they check, I'm pretty sure they jump on the board as well and be a member of the We Audition, because it is great company and you help so much. Part of it is because it's run by the actors.
Right. The actors are the key part of it.
Yeah.
And any actor that's out there that's like interested in it, just take a look. We don't try and hard sell it to you because it's a great product, right? So have a look, and if you like it, join it. And if you don't feel the need for it, don't join it, right? Because I tell you one thing is, being a member of We Audition is you're part of a community, and you only get out what you put in. It's not a platform where you sign up, put your headshot up, and then expect something to happen. You've got to be an active part of it for it to be good. And then the other thing I just wanted to say on that, our last conversation, I really appreciated what you said there about the different ways of doing things, because I think these days, for any actor listening, there's no one right way to do anything. Right. Your way is the right way. If you want to do a couple of things, you're allowed. If you want to be a content creator and an actor, you're allowed. And if you want to have life experiences, please go and do it, because that's what you bring to life as an actor. That's what you bring into your roles, And I think we are talking about the future. That's going to get more and more that way in the future, because there is just no one right way to do this career anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Which makes actually very interesting, for this business, like different ways, different paths, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's a huge place to explore. And so if people want to, we're going to put it in the description, but if people want to check you out, check out your projects, list them, tell us all about it.
So definitely website, weaudition.com. But what about the Instagram and other social media?
Yeah, so We Audition's pretty active on Instagram. That's our main platform. So it's just at We Audition. We love hearing your stories from We Audition. So please, tag us in anything that you want to, and we'll reshare. And personally, I'm at my full name, at Darren Darnborough. You can see my Instagram, check out what we've been doing recently for the Emmys and for the new film coming out and other things I get up to on there. That's the best ways, really.
And also, everybody should check your podcast. Because
yes.
We also have a podcast. It's called the We Audition Show. Surprise, surprise. Yeah. And it's similar to yours, Maris and TJ. It's we interview different actors, different agents, cast and directors, people in the business. Exactly, for the reasons that you're doing it. We just want to spread some good knowledge and share our connections.
Darren, thank you so much. It is such a pleasure to have you with us. And
thank you for having me.
Let's come again in a while and see how things improved with the the industry, because I'm pretty sure we have to get a little bit more everything, more projects, more auditions, more.
Yeah, well, I think it's getting there, isn't it? It's coming back.
Yeah.
Slowly, but it will.
Yeah. Thank you for having me so much. Appreciate it.
Darren.
Of course.
Thank you. Yes. And good luck with the company and as an actor as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, that concludes another episode. Thank you so much for joining us. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss another episode where we unveil the entertainment industry.
Yeah, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.